Saturn in retrograde. What's the impact? I'll be answering that question for all 12 signs, and I'll also be answering all your personal one-on-one questions with live readings coming up right now.
Does it look like a Devin or David?
David is his name. It's been so spot on.
And I don't know if you put it in the side of your end table or not. You like to summon your end table. It's too.
We're crazy.
Yeah.
You might be hard on your right knee when you're running. Make sure you're not too hard on the right knee.
100%.
Okay.
Honey, I'm a runway walker.
I don't know if she's showing me flowers. Like, relay them or redo them. These purple flowers.
Oh my God, Scott, the flowers are right there. My orchids are purple. They completely are dead.
Yeah.
Did you even know? You nailed
100%.
everything, every single thing. Listen, everyone, this guy.
Tell me something that he told you that came true.
Everything he's predicted has come true.
I just don't see it.
Who doesn't have cancer?
It's very possible.
Camera's psychic, who first questioned Brooke's cancer.
Scott Cruz.
Oh, there
I know it's last
you
name.
You better question yourself. We're here to bring enlightenment, not confusion.
You might encounter negative aspects of self, but that's a freeing experience.
Because then they start realizing that they can't think outside the box. And I say, if you can't think outside the box, then who's the stupid one here?
We've all co-created this matrix. So if you don't like the matrix, that's you saying that you don't like your own reality, what you're creating for yourself. So we're all equal participants of the creation of this matrix. I don't just come on here and talk shit, repeat shit. I'm living it.
In harmony with nature, in a mystical adventure, we're building on a culture.
Happy Thursday Night Live, everyone. Welcome to making sure I had everything up together. Welcome to the Cruisyverse. How are you beautiful souls doing? I need to start over on that one. I'm stumbling on my words already. It's been an interesting, dense month. As we all know, we've been talking about this week to week. And so I figured it'd be a good time to talk about actually the effects of Saturn in retrograde, which is retrograde in Pisces. It's been retrograde in Pisces since July. And so we'll be in that retrograde. It will be in retrograde until November 28th, which is actually direct on Thanksgiving. So there's some effects that's happening to all of us. And so I'm going to go through all the 12 signs and find out what the challenges may be and where to focus and where it's shedding light and kind of how to navigate such. Of course, it's going to be very general because it's collective. And so you can get more of an individual read one-on-one, of course, and how to navigate your personal circumstances, but just as a blueprint, as a little guide point for us. And so, and during this time too, it's been very dense, especially now we're in Libra season. And so, as I said last week, Libra season is really about creating a new identity at this point, right? And creating a new essence of self through that new voice. And so there comes a lot of maturity in that process. And that's kind of what Saturn does bring to the table. It's all about expression. It's all about, reality, which kind of nitty gritty in the physical world, but it's also about setting the proper boundaries in order for you to be that person, to shine that light, to be that version of yourself that is truly what you want to be, to actually manifest life. So Saturn's a very powerful energy. So in Pisces, it is bringing that reworking of the emotional and spiritual realms. It is bringing that fluidity between, okay, this is my spiritual self, this is my physical self. How can I merge the two to have a very fluid, balanced, unified experience? So that's what this is happening in with Pisces, but also in the retrograde is going to be, I would say retrograde tends to like flip things upside down to push things forward in a sense. People always blame Mercury in retrograde for things going awry. And sometimes that's true because the energy, but it's not something to be scared of. It's just an energy to take advantage of. And so we'll get into that. But first, before further ado, let's see who's chatty Cathy in the room here, shall we? We have David Cruz and Jennifer Cruz, my makers. Welcome aboard, of course. Iggy, can't you see? Says, Leap Reapings. Okay, in size. Okay, it's inside joke because I rushed to create the thumbnail for the show so I can show it on LOL, and it had so many spelling errors on it. And then when I put the caption on this live show, it was like, it kind of read, I said to Iggy, it read really bad. It was like, leave reaping the retrograde. So that's what he was saying, making fun of me. But yeah, I was trying to rush it up there, and I look back like, oh my gosh, the amount of spelling errors. And I always say I've always been a good speller. I'm just a lazy typer. I was just talking to my sister about this before the show because I spelled October like Octobre. I'm like, oh my gosh, look how hard the spelling is. But I'm a fast, lazy typer. I'm trying to get things done. And so I keep auto spelling off because I don't want to be dumbed down and like forget how to spell words. Because when I had it on, I'm like, is inconvenience IE or EI? Like, so I'm like, no, I still want to be able to spell my words, but now I just have a sloppy typer of an experience when you read my messages. So that was that with Iggy. Tubby Garassi, good to see you. Wonderful mom Nina is not here tonight. She's under the weather, so please send her some love. My mom will try to help navigate. So if you want to get your questions in, your personal one-on-one questions, it's 15 for car poll, 20 for one question, 30 for two, and 40 for live video. Get those in now. This way, when I'm doing the collective reads, we can go fluidly into their live readings and so forth. So the individual ones. So get them in now. PayPal and Venmo links are in the description below. And you have any questions, just ask Mom. But again, they're in the description below. So there you go. Lisa Cruz, my sister from the same Mista, and I always say that because I have a lot of sisters from another Mista, but she's the same sister from the same Mista. Brightlet Begaboo, good to see you. Happy Thursday. Kertra Oracle Magic, good to see you as well. Horse Trigger Hope, good to see you as well. Welcome aboard. Darby Mabry, always great to see you. Wesley Mosher, good evening to you as well. Allie Taylor, hello, beautiful. Brenda Zweck, hello, shout out to you. I feel like I'm the romper room. I see Mary, I see Christopher, I see this. Julie Fox, good to see you. Pisces Cup as well. I'm sorry, my font on the screen is like this big for me to see, but welcome aboard to Julie Fox. I saw symbols, but I couldn't see all of them. Caroline Catton, good to see you as well. Happy Thursday to you as well. Sydney Aaron, my sister from another Mister, is here. I knew she was in the room somewhere too. Good to see you as well. And just seeing who's chatting. Alma Ford, good to see you. Welcome aboard. And everyone else is watching. I can only see who's chatting. Welcome aboard. And so let's start. Actually, I'm going to start with a quick collective read at the moment. Just pick a couple cards, and then we'll get into the one-on-ones. Because I didn't anticipate pulling cards tonight because I figured it's going to be 12 signs. But let's do a collective, general collective. Just kind of see what the message is there. Sorry, I'm talking off the microphone here. But let me do a quick collective read. I wasn't planning on it, but I'm like, you know what? Something told me just pull a few cards for you guys before we get into the 12 signs. And so that's why I'm reaching for my cards. Because I'm like, I don't need them out because they're not going to use them. But Spirit's like, no, we are. So let's do a quick collective read. I'll probably pull just two cards, just kind of give a heads up for this. Okay. Makes sense. Okay. Interesting. Thank you, Spirit, for that. Give me a couple seconds. I'll tune in. Okay. Don't be afraid to heal. It's the first thing I heard. Because a lot of times what we found our comfort zone in was in our illness, our sickness, our deprivations. They became our crutch. Because I'm like, that's what I focus on. This is what I find value in. And so I get the support. So it's comfortable for me now because of being ill and sick and being in these modalities of depriving circumstances, so to speak. Well, and I've kind of said that too. I wouldn't say redundant, but just you're comfortable in your uncomfortable circumstances. Let's put it that context. And so you guys need to desire. Yes, I want healing. A lot of you guys have made the journey of healing the purpose. And we're saying, no, the journey of healing is a result. It's not your purpose. Don't get comfortable in the healing phase. You want to celebrate the new version. You want to really be ambitious about the new version and understand, yes, when you heal, yes, when you actually come to being a full person again, a new person again, then you're free. You feel good. You feel the love. You feel the energy, all the things that you need, the contentment. You start being more clear. But I'm just sensing Spirit saying there's a lot of people that need to like piss and get off the pot type of situation with the Two of Swords here too. You either want to keep healing, or you actually want to become emerge into that butterfly, so to speak, right? And the butterfly emerging from the cocoon. And it's all new, it's all bright, more freedom, more expansion, more beauty. Do you want that? Or do you want to stay in this healing process? And so a lot of people have found a lot of benefit from being sick or benefit from being someone who's always depressed because they realize, well, that's the only way I'm actually getting love. That's the only way I'm actually getting attention. So people stay stuck in that for that reason. Please understand, you'll get love and attention even when you're thriving too, because people will revere you. Look at celebrity culture, right? It's very much revered in that sense. So allow yourselves to like really embrace, say like, I am becoming that new person. This is what's happening. I'm going to embrace and like let go of the healing process, because I've seen a lot of people say once they're done the healing phase, what else is left? I'm like, expression, baby. You know, because the brain likes a project. And so sometimes healing becomes that project we get fixated on, but I found a value finally. It's like, but look for another expression of value too, instead of the value in just healing in that sense. So that's a very quick message. Embrace the new change. And I'm sure we're going to get a lot of that with these collective reads here as I pull up some of my guides here. Because I want to stay in order, and but Saturn in retrograde will affect people differently. We've noticed, like I've been saying for September, the energy read of September being in Virgo season, now in Libra season, it's about using your voice, standing your ground, setting your boundaries, and that's all about that Saturn energy too, expressing what you want, also getting what you want and manifesting what you want. So, we still have a process of this, but this is the time now to like resituate yourselves, because a lot of movement happened in August, September. Things are taking place. You guys got busy with emotional stuff, but now we're like, hold on a second. Like, I'm still behaving and acting and going forth in my success the old ways of doing it. I'm going through my relationships in the old ways I was doing it. I got to start doing these dynamics in my life in a different way now. Now I'm in this new relationship. I got to behave differently now in this new version. I have to be more expressive now. Wait a minute. I got this new job. I have to be more confident in this new job. So this is what this September is really about, checking in and saying, here's your older fears manifest. And speaking of older fears manifest, this is going right into Aries. Because Aries is all about the old fears manifesting, the resolve. And I said this probably, I think early September, I said, Aries, you're going to have a lot of issues now with, maybe regret. And, looking back, I'm saying, no, don't see it as regret, saying, oh, I've been passing up on opportunities. I do deserve the opportunities, right? So now, Aries, the Saturn in retrograde is bringing that to light. It's saying like, look, these are things that not that you regret, but things that you've passed up on because you thought you weren't worthy enough, or you sabotaged it for whatever reason. So look and say like, oh, if I did take control, I could have manifest those situations or experienced them the way I wanted to. So Aries, don't stay in regret. Just say, what are the old fears, the old things that maybe the habits that you had, right? Or the old patterns, like the things like, I'm used to shutting my relationships down. I'm used to shutting people down. I'm used to being isolated. But is that pattern, Aries, dear Aries, loved one, is that serving you? Is that really burning the fire for you? Or are you keeping the fire stayed out for yourself, So it's time to face that now, Aries, because it could be a very positive, powerful result when you do, because you actually will be in allowance mode now because of that. And you'll start realizing that you are attracting people, circumstances very easily. And instead of pushing it away or isolating it or overanalyzing it and, being above it in a sense, you allow yourself to merge with it now. So you should merge with the past. Aries, you should look at those old fears, or old habits, unresolved, not as regret, but as fuel. As fuel is a realization of saying like, oh, I've been deserving of this all along, actually. I just didn't believe it, so I shut it down or let my fears get in the way. So pay attention to that now, Aries, during this time. This way, by Thanksgiving, you will be giving thanks when Saturn goes direct on Thanksgiving. So next we have our Taurus. I have to pull up my, make sure I'm pulling up my my little overlays there, because I'm like, so people come in, they see it's collective reading, and we have who we're talking about right there, so people can see. So I have to make sure I'm delegating. So on that. So Taurus, and Saturn's in your 11th house, Taurus, because right now. So that also means during this time, it's going to put a strain on your friendships and relationships. You might see relationships at this time in retrograde falling apart. People may not be supportive of you or revering you the way you think so. And I think I kind of psychically predicted this even beginning of September, actually, for you Taurusarians, if that's even a word. And so you might even find that people have been taking advantage. You might even find that people have not been trustworthy. A lot of that might be revealed for you, for Taurus now. But you also might start recognizing that your selection of friendships and relationships have not been quite good either. You might have been coming from a more shallow perspective or place, or a superficial place, and just kind of keeping things safe and micromanaging friendships. But right now, Saturn in retrograde is telling you can't do that. What are your importances now? So there might have been a lot of passings for Taurus during this time. You know, a lot of family members passing, and people have been close to you where you realize, oh my gosh, you know, I needed more from that relationship, from that parent, or wow, like this person was really loyal to me and now I don't have them. So a lot of introspection of relationships. But the whole point of this is you need to understand who truly supports you. Who truly supports you. And if you're not really supporting yourself right now or doing what's best for you, you recognize that, you know, that's why people aren't supporting me, because I haven't been really supportive of myself. I've been, you know, bull in a china shop, so to speak. Right? So Taurus, it's time for you to step up to the plate. And guys, even though this is for give you different signs, find what resonates too, because some of you might have Taurus rising, right? And so even pay attention to what your rising sign is too. So, but Taurosians, analyzing what's the priority of your relationships and supporting yourself, allow others to support you too. So I do feel with this time in Libra season identity change, you might start recognizing what your place is on the supportive role of things, but also how you're also conveying yourself. There's going to be a lot of that shifts with you Taurosians right now too, moving forward into Libra season as well. So if you don't learn this, you might find people are just like coming in and out. It'd be very chaotic. If you are learning this, then you're going to feel like an appreciation from people who appreciate you, but also you're also allowing yourself to appreciate others as well. Wonderful time of change to begin to the heart of the matters, it seems like, with Taurosians here. So that's great for you. All right, let me get the banner for Gemini. Next, we have wonderful Geminis. My great mom is a Gemini. And I would say Geminis are like females and men always read differently for me with Geminis for some reason. I don't know why, but this feels, the read in this feels kind of cohesive for male and females. Right? So Gemini, your Saturn is actually in your 10th house. So that's really focusing on career, reputation, your responsibilities, and I would say kind of redesignating what you are responsible for, what you're not responsible for. And let me tell you, that could also bleed into your relationships. I'm not responsible for that anymore, so I'm not appeasing it anymore, right? And so, you know, old things, old habits, not even such habits, but even old, you know, interests that you might have had, you know, might resurfacing of things that maybe you wanted to do or you didn't finish doing might come up as a passion for you during this time too. We're saying to yourself, ask yourself, is this for actually recognition, you know, to be celebrated, or is this something that you hold dearly to yourself? It's coming from the heart. Not that you're trying to appease anybody else or trying to accomplish something. Are you doing because it's really coming from the heart? This is the introspection, and a lot of that will be toward career. A lot of Geminis might find a new interest to learn something new with their careers, right? And perhaps even embracing your reputation in a way where you're being celebrated by people who maybe you didn't allow that celebration before. You were just kind of saying like, oh yeah, well, I don't need that. I'm being very humble, and, you know, but maybe you need to also understand what your reputation is in a good sense to understand what you do actually give and heightening your value of what you give and increasing the value. And we do so by looking at how people talk about us, Geminis, how people enjoy us, or what people are saying when we do things for them. So it's time for you guys, Geminis, to really digest and avoid that, to understand what your next steps is in your career space, right? Or any type of hobbies that you want to focus on, and which way do you want to do it that's going to really bring value to yourself. And that's going to be a big difference. And you're going to take the shallow out of it and put the heart into it. So I definitely feel like it'd be a very interesting in that regard. So, all right, next we have Cancers. Is my banner up? Okay, I have to move just save stuff. Okay, making sure so you guys can follow along with me, Cancers. You know, faith, calling Cancers faith already, because I was talking about faith and stuff of that nature. Cancer, Saturn's in your 9th house. So to me, it's really about it's a belief thing. Faith, you know, where you put your emotional, spiritual, intellectual priorities in. Right? And so I think a lot of this, you'll have upgrades in any type of philosophies that you might have, morale that you might have. So your identity shift is really going to come on your, I would say, spiritual perspective. Those who maybe are not spiritual, what do you have faith in? What are you putting your faith in? You might, if some of your Cancers are not intuitive, which that's rare, you might not be conscious of it. You might start recognizing your intuition is really well right now, and you might want to start becoming more spiritual. So it's going to be more of an inner reflection during this time. Of course, we do that inner reflection. We understand, oh, that's my power, Cancer. So therefore, you can start exposing it, putting it in, and expressing it in so many different ways to where you heightened and elevate and upgrade other dynamics in your life. But it starts with, what are you really believing in? What do you truly believe in on a heart level when it comes to, you know, I say the word faith because it's easier to say, but I also don't want to be cliche, say spiritual beliefs and perspectives. But where do you sit in the non-physical aspect of self, beyond the box, right? Not just emotions, not just how people feel, what you feel, but higher than. And those who are already there, you're going to probably go higher. Actually, my good friend Devin Doer, she's a Cancer, and I was just telling her how she's expanded so much as a Cancer, she's now actually becoming more ET and interdimensional being conscious. And I said, well, of course you've elevated, so of course you can be elevated in that realm too. So a lot of you Cancers might find even a connection with alien consciousness or wanting to know more about like the mysteries of existence. And so embrace that. That will direct you more in your relationships, how you see relationships, because you'll be more believing in things that actually are concrete versus by the motions, especially with things that you choose to pursue with work. You'll start being very grounded and also being very focused on what it really feels for you in the sense, not just the emotions, but on the higher level of feeling, and it'll be more intuitive, more consciously intuitive. So I'm trying to be in the spectrum of those who are not so intuitive or conscious of it, and those who really are, just trying to fill the gaps there. So I'm not surprised it's emotional for you Cancers. I was like, where was I again on my chart? For you Cancers, it might be. It's always. I'm not surprised it's emotional, but it's gonna be more about core beliefs and core foundation, which will allow you guys to be more 5D actually. So that's pretty cool. There's a lot of, you might get, I would say Cancers, sometimes they don't get to lead as much as they want to, but I feel like you guys will lead in a different way, Cancers. You'll lead in a different way. You'll be influenced in a different way. So, like not intentionally, I would feel, with leadership. All right. Next, we have our lovely Leo lions in the room. Okay. Interesting to me, like I've said this for a while about Leos too. I was saying with like 2025, especially, age of Aquarius, I felt Leo's becoming more vulnerable, more like intimacy, want to be relationships, like snuggling up, coziness in that sense, right? But I also feel what comes with that is a lot of shadow work of the resistance of being vulnerable. So I feel like in this retro period, you might find those fears of being vulnerable, emotionally vulnerable, coming up, where you want to maybe run again or guard yourself in a sense, right? And so allow that to come up. Understand it is about family, it is about connection, it is about that genuine vulnerability. But answer the question: what type of vulnerability are you fearing right now? And hasn't your nestling up and being domestic and being very compassionate and intimate with people around you, hasn't that shown to you that there's no reason to have any fear of being vulnerable? And I always say vulnerable to what? Because we're always vulnerable to something. It's not just, I'm a fear of being vulnerable. Well, that's too vague. But you can address the fact that you've been very emotional. You've been very one to like nestle up and be community-based and intimately based. And so hasn't it shown to you that you don't need to have a fear of getting hurt? You're not being vulnerable to getting hurt. So allow yourself to ask yourself, like, just surrender from those older ideologies. They don't match today's essence. But, what can manifest Leos with this fear resurfacing, that shadow resurfacing? You might want to go run again. You might get a little egomaniac. You might be saying, well, I was right and they need to learn a lesson. That might resurface. And I'm telling you right now, you don't want that to resurface and get the best of you because you're not there anymore. So we got to put that in check and say, no, I'm going to surrender to that. I don't need to control it. I don't need to be the leader. I don't need to prove I'm right. I need to run away. I don't need to be, very fierce right now. I can actually just surrender and let it go and say, it's a done deal for me. So, and that's by putting it into a rational perspective. So that's a lot of change with Leos. And so again, how does that work out in relationships? You put away relationships that need to be put away. They don't start bleeding in your current relationships, and your current relationships become more expansive, expressive, and they start building during this time too. A lot of intimacy, a lot of sharing of things, like the humanitarian Aquarius energy, I feel with you guys. So so that's wonderful. And so, but again, the negative side is those shadow versions will come out. Make sure you understand who it is, who he or she is, and make sure you're calling out and saying, we're not that anymore. We don't do this anymore. Put it in play. And that will help you build more community of people, more community of relationships, friendships, lovers, all that great stuff if you want more than one. And also, I feel like that would help you with expressing whatever you're doing at your work. That would help to expand it outwardly too. So good stuff, Leos. Okay. But if you feel domestic, go with it. Go with domestic. Okay. All right. Virgos. I know you guys very well because I'm Virgo rising. So, it's interesting because I said this before and I'll say it again, because with Virgos, things are slowing down a little bit right now. Okay. And whatever imbalances you've been having, like I said before, during Virgo season, we got to ground ourselves. And when you ground yourself, things are going to become more apparent what is there that don't need to be there, including past thoughts and ideas. So a lot of times people will, get themselves wrapped up in a past idea or past thought process that we've done in the past that sabotages us. And then something happens to trigger that and it comes up again. Then we start behaving based on that energy. And of course, it becomes a self-fulfilled prophecy. So the imbalances are going to show themselves to you because you've been grounding yourself in Virgo season. But right now, your voice is important. Not just the voice of telling people what's wrong and correcting things, but also taking accountability in your relationships too. Knowing where you went wrong. That's important for Virgos right now during this retrograde. If you don't, you're going to be pushed and pushed until it's shown to you that you were not accountable. So your communication will be key in ownership during this time, Virgos, because once you do use your voice, you will be heard. You will be in positions of leadership if it comes to work or in that sense, and you will start taking control of charge of your relationships, not control, but charge of relationships. I mean, you'll be in control of your emotions. So, but then you also have to balance out your frustrations, Virgos, is that you have been maybe giving too much to people because of rationale, but not allowing that in return. So therefore, there's been some sort of emotional imbalance that's been taking place, and that's going to be revealed right now. And so go with it. Level it out. Okay? Especially during Libra season. Create that new identity. You don't have to be the one directing all the time. You don't have to be the one talking all the time. And not everybody else, just because I don't listen, is wrong. Sometimes your accountability is saying like, yeah, maybe I was being too forceful, too direct. Understand this. Take accountability for this. That'll change a lot with career, a lot with relationships, and your relationship with money too, actually. So yeah, take the slow down. That's part of your grounding process, the grounding phase, and take advantage of that. Okay. All right. Next, we have Libras in Libra season. Saturn's your sixth house. Jeez Louise. I've been kooky today, guys, so you get a little bit of kookiness. I'm trying to be focused for you guys. But yeah, so Libra, guys, is in your sixth house. So this is all about your health and your relationship with your body, right? But not even so much about that, but like your wellness routine when it comes to even your mental health. And are you overdoing it? So you might find that there's going to be a lot of pressure. So the opposite be from Virgos, things will slow down. Things might pick up for you, Libras, where you feel a lot of pressure coming at you, but you're going to be pushed to demand structure in your life and demand the fact that like, hey, I have to put things in balance now, and balance. Hello, Libras, you should know about this. But then also understanding that, there is a yin to the yang, understand that you don't have to always pick with one side and overdo it. You can kind of find a balance between the yin and the yang too. And so, but you're going to be forced to understand what's going on in your daily. So you might feel over encumbered. Your job might be too demanding of you. You might feel like you're spreading yourself too thin. Your relationships too might be pulling from you during this time. So now it's time to really understand what's important, what your priority is, and ask yourself, does this contribute to my well-being? Does this thought process, this grinding, this stress, this overcompensating, is it actually benefiting my well-being, both on your physical health, mental health, and spiritual health? So, but this is a wonderful time because, not to sound cliche about Libras, but you guys will be putting things in that balance finally, in that sense, and you guys will be powerhouses at that time. You'll understand how to, sway maybe on this balance, saying like, I don't every balance. So you guys have been kind of trepidatious of understanding the yin to the yang, but you might be saying, I am going to go a little dark on this one because I'm going to bring it right back here. And I'm going to have more fun and more dynamic and more flexibility in my perspective. So that's going to be the great result. And so that's going to be a burst of creativity. If those of you who are writers, Libras, it's just going to flow out of you. You're going to be like, I just can't stop writing, right? And if you're, some sort of a project manager, you'll be like so inspired of how to get the project, created and manifested and going and push into gear. If you're a teacher, again, you'll be very creative, like how you express your education, how you choose to educate. So I'm just going through a few professions that came to mind, maybe because some of you are that Libra in those professions, I don't know. But they came to mind. But whatever you're doing, it's like it will heighten. It will heighten because you're now putting that energy in the right space and you clear out the space to allow the fuel to go. And then, of course, when you're doing something you love, you get that in return. So there's that constant, cyclical experience of energy, right? No burnout. No burnout, Libras. That's another wonderful thing. So yeah, during this time, it's gonna be a lot of this. So you will be probably maybe too busy than you should be, and not just with work and doing things, but also just emotional busyness. So pay attention, put it in balance, and when you do, and you find that leverage, boy, you guys will be powerful too. So, all right, let me get my banner for Scorpios here. Because I notice every week I forget the banners I'm putting out. I said to myself, be good with the banners. So we can easy timestamp after this is said and done. All right, Scorpios. This is interesting for Scorpios. Saturn's in your 5th house. So it's creativity, romance, love, right? I really feel like you guys will maybe want to nestle up, and maybe if you don't have a family, want to maybe start feeling, like you want to have a family. So I feel like there's going to be a lot of that organic approach to life and looking at life in a sense of like, here's this emotional vulnerability, because Scorpios sometimes are not really this way. You can be very, romantic, creative, and expressive, and sometimes you can be very isolate too. So there's gonna be a lot that's flowing through you. So again, similar to Libras, you guys will feel very creative. Maybe you want to start a new business, start some new expedition of something. And those of you who are maybe not in a relationship, you're going to crave that relationship, crave that partnership, crave that the freedom of expression in that sense. So that's a lot of change. And those of you who are in relationships, your relationships might peak. They might get better, right? Or if you're just have a sluggish relationship, things will peak too. But, because I feel split on Scorpios. I feel like some want relationships or want to better the relationship sector, and some want actually career sector. So I feel like you guys are probably very split in that way of your directions when it comes to love or career. You don't have to split it. You can actually unify it, but it's up to you depending on how you want to lay out your life. But, like I said before, lean on that creativity. Don't let yourself feel like that this out of the box idea that you're getting couldn't be something new, couldn't make money. So be very determined on this, and making sure that you're not restricting yourself. Okay. And always be seeking, because the opposite of this during the retrograde is you might feel blocked. Like, I feel blocked. I don't know what's going on. And, so that might be the flip side during the retrograde, is that you might feel a little blocked, or like, you don't know why you're not dating. No one's come to your experience. And, I'm not quite getting this type of, flow with my work or ideas. And we're just saying is because you're just blocking yourself because you're being reserved. You're not allowing yourself to just, like, as simple as it sounds, let go and just be free. Say, I don't give a fuck. Like, I would say when we have writer's block, I say, well, then write about writer's block. Just don't give a fuck what comes out. Just let it go. Who cares? Let me just get anything out. So same thing with this Scorpio. Just do something. Get yourself out. Go out and meet people. Doesn't matter where it is. Put more energy into it and remove those blocks. So you're going to start realizing you've been blocking yourselves. That's kind of the retrograde period, is that realization. So you probably will feel stagnant or blocked in that sense. But understand you got to be more creative. You use that creative expression. It's all about creativity and also romance, and being honest about these things and not restricting yourselves. And a lot of you Scorpios are restricting yourselves for different reasons. I can't go there, I'm sober. But it's like, you can still go if you're sober. It's not just a bar, or I can't because I've done that before. Like, don't put these self-imposed restrictions because of one experience or because of what you think might be rational is not rational. That introspective will then push you forward. So that would be, like I said before, new relationships, enhancing relationships, new career opportunities, new job opportunities, all that great stuff. And to where you allow yourself to really understand what it is to be joyful, right? And to be excited and be happy. In that sense, you might say, oh, first time I'm feeling like I'm actually happy, not pleasured, I'm happy. And so I think you guys have to understand the difference between being pleasured versus being happy. And that's the realization that comes out of this retrograde. So, all right, where are my room lights just went off. Give me a moment here. I have to put them on. It's like it just takes away the ambient lighting. So I don't know why this schedule does it at this time. Okay, there we go. We're back. Okay. And new camera too, which is picking up the fact that I look like a greasy Italian right now. But who are we on next? We did Scorpio. We're next. Yeah, next is my Sages. Gotta make sure the banner's up. So Sag, it's really about, and I kind of said this early September too. This is family matters to me. This is all about like connection, emotional expression, sense of home, being domestic, and I feel like you Sages need to heal right now. Everyone needs to heal, but I feel for Sages primarily, there's collectively there needs to be some sort of healing being done with Sages, it feels to me, right? And really understanding like, what is your emotional boundaries. Like where do you setting yourself emotionally? What do you want in? What don't you want in? Have you been taken advantage of? I feel like there's a lot of Sagittarius felt like they've been taken advantage of, and so they've closed off to that too. And so, but they weren't really putting their heart and family and foundation of intimacy first. They were putting kind of just, you know, the surface expression first. So just being interactive with somebody versus being in depth with somebody, you know. And so I think a lot of Sagittarius will be going back to their roots. I said this, I remember saying this early for 2025 in Sagittarius about going back to the roots. And so I feel like that's going to be even evident now. So past memories might resurface, things from your past will kind of come to light. You'll start asking yourselves, wait a minute, like, you know, I used to kind of do this in my work, but maybe I should bring that back in because it was really good back then. Or I used to wear this dress like this and express myself this way and I had fun. Maybe I'll bring that back in. So you're going to feel like a lot about going back to the roots and finding a place, like your home environment will become very important. Not that it wasn't before, but almost like you're just like, I need something new. I need a new vibe. I need a new energy, right? I need to feel like I have a sense of family somehow, whether through friendships or actual family. So a lot of that vulnerability will come out. But again, I think a lot of you guys have been just reaching so far and got on the I'm going to do what people expect of me line of things that cause some stagnation, instead of saying, what are my roots? What's my core? What do I really enjoy? And a lot of those past memories will come back to teach us. Once you do this, again, same thing here. You guys will skyrocket as well. Your careers will flourish. Your relationships secured. So if you're not in one, they come in. If you're in one and it's kind of up, it's secured. If you're in a secure relationship, then it just gets a lot more appreciative for you. Right. But also on the downside, you might have to end, those relationships might come to an end during this retrograde time too. You know, so be accepting this and looking back and saying, let me go back to the roots, the foundation, you know, and the thing, you might be in circumstances now that just need to go and you'll just start plucking them out. Good. You should. Okay. All right, almost done here, but we have Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces left. Of course, next is Dear Capricorns. Make sure my banner is up there. Okay. Capricorns, you know, I've been saying this for 2025, but I'm going to say it again, even for this retrograde too, because I feel like it's going to emphasize a lot on communication. Communication is going to be important for Capricorns now. And so, and I'm finding ways, because like a lot of you guys, all right, that's emotional. Am I going to manifest my partner? Am I going to manifest my lover? So I'm trying to throw in when you understand the lessons, how it can manifest, because most people tune into this thing saying, when's my love coming? Is it coming this month? You know, so they don't want to look at the inner work, but we are. But I will also make sure to tell you, when you figure this out, it will manifest the things that you're looking for. So, but communication is key for Capricorns. And that means too, not just about how you communicate, but how are people communicating to you? And so, you know, Capricorns tend to shut down easy, right? It's a protection mechanism. But now's not the time to. And some, I know a lot of Capricorns like, I just don't want to cause any problems, so I won't say anything, so I just won't cause any problem. I don't cause problems, so I just let it be. It's like, but sometimes not saying something makes it worse in the long term, in the long run. So now it's about time to stepping up and tell the people that affect you how they affected you and what you need from them, and not just shrugging it off because again, that might resolve a situation, or it might make it worse. Even in the future, things will build up. And so it really is centered around family too for me. You know, especially being in your third house, Caps, you know, it's like about communication when it comes to relationships in that sense too. So it's centered around family. It feels like a lot family stuff too, which is interesting that I'm saying this because, one of my good friends is a Capricorn. He just like had it recognized that his father has been such a horrible role in his life. And it came to head, you know, today for him. And then he lost his sibling too. So it's like, I just forgot about this, so how parallel it is with the read. And so there might be a lot of that, but when you flip that out, you communicate, you might actually realize the relationships that you wanted actually might come through and resolve, or the relationship that you've been holding on to, you finally allowed yourself to stand up and push it out and let it go. and therefore creating a huge sense of resolve for yourself, So if you do this, I feel like when you work on this communication, like contractually, like you think of like contractual dialogue between people, I feel like new contracts with work get signed, so maybe get a new job or your elevation of career, or you're able to push yourself to be in the spotlight. Because I felt a lot of this too in early 2025, Caps, you're going to be in the spotlight somehow, getting recognition. And increasing your financial worth was another part of this. So that's coming, Caps. If you're doing the work, you do the introspective work, it's all there. It's all coming for you. But if you're not, then you probably realize finances are going down the toilet. You might realize relationships, you're having more issues with relationships and there's more problems and so forth. So make sure you're being very transparent on this when it comes to your communication and allowing yourselves to go with your creativity and understand your financial worth. It's time for that right now. Okay. So, all right, let me get my next. Next, we have Aquariuses, which is me. So it's kind of like I'm spilling all the tea about me. So, Aquarius is right now. Saturn's in the second house, so self-worth and finances is going to be a struggle during this time until you purge the old shit, old money issues. So. And as I was kind of reflecting on this too, because like being Aquarius and Virgo rising, I've been recognizing that I haven't been making money for the enjoyment of what money can bring. More so, I have to make money just for survival reasons. Like I just got to survive. And so, and as of late, I've been saying, but like I want money for other things too, because I've always been fine financially, but now like my taste is getting more expanded. I'm just having, my taste is getting further out from my bank account than I'd like to. So my taste is getting very expensive. And I'm recognizing like, I never really allowed myself to financially enjoy finances and the work that I do for actually being conscious of pleasure for me. Just like, I just isolate and I'm good. And so, it's time for the Aquas to start, standing out, being in the spotlight and understand what luxury is. And so that's going to hit you in the financial sector. So if you guys have hidden fears and not really embracing that fact and working to make money to also help support your luxuries and so forth, you're going to have some issues until you can resolve that unconscious. And so they will resurface. But it's also going to be realignment to value, your value system. So yes, it's about like what you truly value. Are you actually putting emphasis on what you value? And you should value your finances. You should value these things. Not like, oh yeah, because us Aquas, we're good at making money, so it just comes natural, so we don't really think about it. I've been making money since I was 15. I wanted to have my own job and walked a mile to work, and I sound like a grandpa right now, but it's true, I did. And my parents were like, Scott, you don't need to work, you're just staying in school. I'm like, but I want to work and earn my own money, because what if I don't have you to rely on? I want to do it for myself. And so Aquas have been great at making money, but I think that we have to understand to push ourselves into more lux mode too, and where we're making money for ourselves. I think we are making money because we're doing things for other people all the time, And so that's gonna be a realization. It's gonna be a kick in the nuts for a lot of us too. It's been a kick in my nuts. I'm like, I'm supposed to I do want more, and I'm gonna support that too. That's right. It is about my expression. So Aqua is gonna feel that. You're going to feel that. And you're going to feel the need that you have to lead. And it's going to be, it's a different paradigm. I'm still not used to leading consciously. I'm always used to leading unconsciously, but I do what I do and I be myself. And I always led unconsciously. Now I have to be conscious about leading. And it's like, how do I not let arrogance slip in? And that's one of the things as Aquas is we don't want to be arrogant. So we'll avoid doing things like, I don't want to be arrogant. But there's nothing arrogant about knowing your power. So Aquas, you got to know your power. And again, the only way I feel like that we learn that lesson is a kick in the nuts financially. So if you guys are learning this too, then finances will increase, they will improve. And you'll find ways to support the luxuries now in life instead of just like making sure you're being overly, unconscious about the matter, So, and it's all about your value system. So you might get rid of things that maybe you're spending too much time in, because again, emotion is a currency too, and what you're giving attention to is a currency too. You might say to yourselves, I don't really value this, so I've been wasting my emotional currency here. You might get rid of that and put something more valuable in, which also, like I say, the secret code of money is creating value and engaging in what's valuable to you. That generates money. That allows you to be more money focused too, and doing things that render money and bring value and appreciation in. So this is what we primarily be focusing on now. And again, like it's going to be like you might be pushing like, am I like thriving or surviving? There's going to be that type of dichotomy that comes in, and so allow yourselves to make that realization and push forward. Say, no, bitch, I can survive fine. I've been surviving for a long time. I'm good, but I'm thriving. It's time to thrive and to shine. That's Aquas, and guys, that will end up in wonderful monogamous relationships if you want a monogamous relationship, or a relationship of something that you prefer, and so. When you think about this, then also that would also expand your career, your creative expressions, all that great stuff. So it's time to shine, Aquas. And we've been dragging our feet in the mud with this, but it's time. Okay. All right. Last but certainly not least is our wonderful Pisces. Pisces. I've been saying identity change for Libra season. Boy, this is going to be identity change for you guys. You're going to feel this newer version coming out. But I feel like during this time, it's going to be emotional time where insecurities start surfacing. It's in your first house, actually. And so, you can't fake it anymore, Pisces. You can't just say, oh, looks good. I'll be the people pleaser. And so therefore that's good enough. It's like, nah, there's an insecurity there that causes us to want to overcompensate or to put a facade. And so you're going to be pressed on this. And so you're going to feel like, maybe I got to change my hair, I got to change my clothes, I got to change my job. You're going to feel this impulse to try to change something. Don't be so impulsive. Don't be so abrupt about this. Ask yourself, like I've been saying, we're always going to say to every sign, every person, is what's your passion? Why are you doing the things that you were doing? Express the things that you were doing. Have you been doing it because of what you feel like people expect you to do, or you thought that how society would accept you, or you're doing it because you don't give a damn what you want to do? Or being too. This might be a time where Pisces might recognize that they're maybe have been in the closet. So if you're younger, you might realize, I'm starting to feel my sexual expression, who I truly am. I'm going against the grain now. So it's time to do that. I see a lot of people who are, because they were born in Christian families, and they not until their 30s or 40s they've pretended that they were straight, until like, I can't take it anymore. I got to be honest and come out of the closet. And so that's a horrible experience, by the way, for somebody. I think straight people do not understand the difficulty of that experience of withholding who you are just for other people because people are going to condemn you and family. I don't think people recognize the toll that it takes in someone's soul and heart. How do I know? I've been there, but I decided I didn't want to be a 40-year-old man in the closet. I was like, I'm coming out of 15. I don't care who, the church, I don't care what y'all going to do to me, because I am not going to be that guy in that repression. I know it's a torturous experience. So, but even with that analogy, Pisces, there's other things that you've been withholding like that because of the fact of how people might perceive you. You could be more spiritual if you didn't worry about how people saw you. You could be more, forward in what you're doing with work, or whatever the environment may be. You could be so much more forward if you didn't allow your fears of how people saw you to prevent you from moving forward, right? So understand it's gonna be a huge identity shift. So there might be change of career during this time. You might be overly sensitive how people are approaching you or receiving you. And it's like, well, that's normal, because you're starting to see your insecurities. What do you want it to be? Where do you want to go with that? And so I think, again, you might start showing up better for your relationships, or allowing yourself to see relationships out in your life that you've also been maybe too surface with. You might like, I want more depth, so I'm going to start bringing more depth to my relationships. And that might bring relationships closer to you, and also push the ones away that might be like not wanting that type of dynamic because they were just in the superficial aspect of things, the surface aspects of things. So Pisces, this is a wonderful time of clarity, of self-clarity. I also, your intuition, for a lot of you guys, unconsciously will expand during this time too, because I always say, intuition comes from knowing more of the self. And when you do, boom, you're massively psychic. So understand this would be a great time for your spiritual growth, your intuition as well. You guys are pretty great with finances. I don't feel finances have been much of an issue. If it has, because maybe it's trying to nudge you in the right direction. But for the most part, financially, everything feels very consistent and solid moving forward for you, Pisces. You guys have an issue with actual real emotion at this time. And so, again, understand what your identity is. And I would advise, like Sagittarius, maybe going back to the roots a little bit like that, but understand where you're growing to. But all is going to be great in that sense for everyone. So, I mean, again, guys, we conclude that. Let me remove that here. So, it's a good time for all of us, because retrogrades can feel heavy. They can feel limiting, depriving, frustrating, but it's like, just take a pause, understand, the cockroaches are showing themselves again. Let's get that damn cockroach, right? So understand that's the timing of this. And when you do, then actually these periods become the best peers to push, the best peers of you to move forward. You know, so let's really take advantage of this time. It's a wonderful time, and take your time too, and be patient during this process. Don't try to push it. You know, you'll feel lighter. And so, boy, I mean, we're all getting kicked in the nuts. We all are experiencing this energy waves. Some of us deal with it differently. Some of us know what it is. Like, I know what it is, so I know how to kind of manage it. You know, but a lot of people don't know how to manage it. A lot of people can hear it, but they need to understand how to manage it better during these currents. So, and that's the goal. You want to be able to say, these moments, these cycles, and these waves of reality, and these currents, these seasons, all serve a purpose. Let's use it for that purpose it is, and you'll never feel deprived. You never feel in fear. You never feel like things are gonna go to shit. Okay. All right. I'm gonna take a quick little break before we go into these one-on-one readings. So, guys, if you want to get yours in, get them in now. Let's take a quick break so I can just take a refresher and get these readings on deck here. Right back.
Scott Cruz is popularly known for his life-changing one-on-one readings to also guide in your soul ascension journey. With life readings, get insight into your relationships, career, health, trauma healings, past life regressions, and more. Want to connect with a loved one who's transitioned? Scott's mediumship session can be the gateway to you and your loved ones in spirit, bridging the gap between the physical and the spiritual realm. If you want to enhance your own psychic ability, Scott's Intuition Builder session can help expand your psychic and mediumship abilities. So sign on to scottcruzpm.com to book your own personal session today.
All right. And it didn't end the session, because last time I did that, and because I didn't have Nina, because Nina gives me a good break with her message after, but she's not here tonight. So, like, send her love again. She's resting up because she was under the weather. So send her some healing love. And so at times when Nina wasn't here, I had to put that commercial and then just end the broadcast, because there's a setting that says end broadcast. I usually run that last. But we did it. We didn't have to end the session. So, okay. First, we have a card pull for Janelle S. Okay. Let me see here. Give me a couple. Let me shuffle these cards here. CNC. Yeah. CNC. Remember the CNC factory? Too? From, hello, Christina Noel. Good to see you as well. From the CNC factory. What songs did they sing? Does anyone remember? Okay. Okay. Interesting. All right. Janelle, Janelle Steb. So, first card was the Eight of Cups. It's your card pull, right? And then the Eight of Wands. And then the Lover's card. So, what is this saying? This my psychic read is on this, that you have to leave something behind. But to me, the leaving behind was saying that there's something of a change. And it feels professional to me too, where it feels like with the Eight of Swords saying there's a new opportunity coming in, new job opportunity, new career, or an elevation of career, like an upgrade. It could be a promotion, whatever the case is. But then the lover cards gets thrown in there too, to me, feeling like there's a lover energy or an energy surrounding relationships that's distracting, that needs to be put into better balance during this time. So I would put your emphasis right now on the change with work or career, whatever this situation is, because it's very vague to me, because it might be blending it with other dynamics. But I was feeling a professional shift, change, upgrade. Put that as a priority. And then put the relationships kind of secondary, like romantic relationships secondary, and understand that needs to be put into a proper balance. So there is time for relationships, but there's also time for work too. So understand that's what's happening here. But it feels like there's a quick change when it comes to your career or work. So let that be a focus first. And then relationship, that sector needs to be balanced out. I don't know why I just hear like a loud noise of a relationship. So I don't know if there's like a past relationship or, a relationship that's just kind of like too much. It just sounds someone's being too chaotic in their energy. I don't know. That needs to kind of go. Or that behavior needs to put to place, So I don't know what this person is. And it feels like a past person of relationship that feel like it's just... And maybe that this energy of person just clogging your mind too much. You got to push it out, which could be, affecting your current love relationship. So I feel like to be an emphasis on love and relationships too, but the work needs to be done to be able to rectify the past shit, the past noise. It sounds noisy to me. And then when you do, I think that will match your success in career raising up would also match. So I feel like, yes, that promotion or whatnot is coming or around the corner. That should be what you're projecting anyways. Okay. But then they're saying like the focus should be on relationships after that and balance it with that. Cause I feel like that's going to have to be focused as well. So, okay, next. And remember, guys, card pulls are general. They're meant to be simple and quickle, fast and simple. Nowhere close to what we do in my one-on-one readings, just so you know. Okay. Okay, next we have a card pull for Sydney Aaron. Let me shuffle for that. Sydney Aaron. Finally get a haircut tomorrow. Yay. Trying to think how I want to get it cut tomorrow. My hair gets so long, you know. It needs a style. Christina Noel. Who said Boca, Florida? Because I grew up in Boca, Florida. Christina Noel. So who's talking about Boca Raton? Grew up there. Can you believe that? I grew up in Boca Raton. Boca Raton, Florida, in West Palm Beach County. Still shuffling for Sydney. Okay, 2 of Wands for Sydney Aaron. So my 2 Wands for me is you're between yourself. So I feel like you're about to. I feel like you've been beside yourself, Sydney. So I feel like you're going to get out of this, like being beside myself. I'm like, yeah, but I'm like in between of like, moving on and moving. So you're finally looking ahead. So with the 6 of Swords, that's my travel card. You might take a trip either this year or schedule it this year for next year. I think you need to take a trip. And it feels like it could be, it's not overseas to me, but it feels like a big trip. You know what I mean? Maybe it is overseas. I don't know. That might be undetermined right now. Because otherwise I would know. But it feels like a more of a grander type of a bigger trip that I feel like you will take. It will provide more movement. It will provide you to be like, you know what, I'm living for myself. It's going to put like an emotional stamp on what you're doing right now. And so yeah, I really feel that that's something that's going to come together. But that's not also just like a traveling card for me too. It's also the spiritual movement. So I see a lot of, energetic movement too with you, Sydney. And you'll feel that. This music is just like going on and off by itself. You'll feel this energetic movement. You start saying, you know what, I feel like with my communication relationships are going good. I feel active in my communal relationships, and we're traveling on a trip. You're going to feel that intellectual and emotional movement as well. So just allow yourselves now to understand it's in the palm of my hand now. I'm not going to be going picking this left and right anymore. I'm moving forward in the balanced state of self. So it's going to be very emotional. And, Ace of Cups comes out as well, the World card. So maybe sometimes I don't like to take the World card too literal in this sense, but it's also completing a cycle as well. I like to say with this as well. But I also feel like you're going to feel the desire to want to travel the world. That's coming through with the 6 of Wands to me too. And the Ace of Cups is like, it's a fertile card. It's giving birth to new ideas. It's creativity, but I feel like it's not so much creativity for you as it will be just you feel like a flow of a new birth energy. So this is all very emotional for me on you. And so, but the movement comes with like, yeah, she'll be traveling more. Maybe I want to go overseas and visit this country. So you're going to feel a lot of that. So, and I feel like partnership will be on the horizon too with that, so. All right, so that's for Sydney. So good news. I think last week I was kind of saying like, come on, piss or get off the pot. And so I feel like you did to a certain degree. So that's good. I love that. Okay. Question from Danny. Long story short, I'm really needing to find a new job. I've been looking for the last quarter, but really ramped it up over the last 2 weeks due to some not very good things I've done. Do you see me being able to find something better before it gets too unbearable there? Okay. I've been looking for I've been looking for the last quarter, but really about 2 weeks due to some not very cool things they've done. Gotcha. Because I knew I read that wrong. I'm like, you didn't do anything. I'm like, it's they've done. Okay, gotcha. Let me see. On that question. Before it gets too unbearable there. I feel like I feel like there's been a huge shift in August. So like last month. I know you said 2 weeks, but I'm like, the energy started in August. you know. It's going to take a little more time for you because I feel like you're on edge on what you should really do and what not to do. And so I feel like you don't have that clarity yet on this, but I feel it's weird that I even would say November, December. It was shown like late October, November, December. They're highlighting those 3 months for you on where you might connect in what you're doing next. I don't feel like during the holidays it would get so bad there, like it's not going to increase in a sense where it becomes unbearable. So, but I feel like by the end of this year, actually, which I'm surprised because I'm like, who finds new work in November, December, October? You know, it's holidays, but people are still working and moving, and during the holidays these days, people don't stop anymore for holidays. It appears because people have business to run. But yeah, I feel like it would take some more time, but it feels like around that bracket of time to me, that within those 3 months could leverage based on your clarity. But yeah, I think I feel so on this. Perhaps even if you lock something in to start January 2026, you know. But yeah, I think that once you understand you're secured in that, I feel like you'll be free and feeling good, you know. Yeah, it doesn't feel like it lingers on much longer. It feels like you're really on the tail end of it all with that. Question from Allison R. If I can click on it correctly. Question. Someone disappeared, ghosted me 6 months ago. They reached out a few times lately. What is their intention? Is it true? Okay. Let me see. There's different types of ghosters. There's a ghoster that will say, they're afraid of commitment, or they're afraid of getting deep, and so they run, right? That's one type of ghoster. There's another ghoster because they're shady, right? So different reasons. This person feels like they juggle. Because I go back and I'm like, okay, when they initially ghosted you, 6 months ago, like what was the issue? Like what was kind of in their headspace? And I see 2 other people. So they were entertaining 2 other people. So I feel like whoever took hierarchy in the placing of who they were interested in or talking to the longest latched on, then went forward that dynamic, right? And then you're ghosted. Now those 2 are not in the picture anymore. It's like, okay, let's reach back out to Allison. That's what I feel like their intention is. Now, is that bad? Well, people see dating differently. They could be like, well, I don't owe you anything. We just started dating, talking, I was talking to other people, and this person took my interest and went forward with it. But do you like the fact that the person decides to handle people that way? Should be a question I'd ask you. And I would say, I personally don't like people who handle that. It seems a little immature. I think people would want to give people respect and understand that, hey, you know what? If we're consistently talking, then there might be some sort of a feelings attached or some sort of a connection, and so perhaps I should do things one at a time. Because I definitely matured, from my 20s to 30s of learning that, because people were getting hurt, or people were feeling like, things are up in the air, not being clear or communicative. So for me, the ghosters are revealing themselves just by doing that. Unless some people come to me like, they ghosted me. I'm like, but no, they told you they were good and you kept pressing it, so they had nothing to do but stop responding. So I don't feel like you're hounding them in that way, Allison, either. But I just feel like the other 2 didn't quite work out because they were talking to 2 people at that time, and and that really panned out. So I'm like, oh, let's see what's going on. Allison, hey, how's it going? Now, is this person, even whether or not you could find that's okay, it's fine, that's dating. This person also feels very needy to me. Like needs attention. And I asked the question, so why do they need to have 3 people at the time? Is it because they are juggling, just trying to narrow it down, or is it another issue? And when I question that, my psyche's like, no, it's because they need attention. They need someone filling the space at all times. They need someone filling the gaps of loneliness at all times. So because of that, I would say I wouldn't proceed with it. Why did my mouse disappear? Okay. My pointer went to my iPad. So yeah, I would kind of, if you want to entertain something casual, perhaps, yeah, but they might even show that they're interested in a relationship or could move forward in a relationship, but then it wouldn't be the one you say would feel relaxed in, so. All right, we have a card pull for Katie. And get your questions in now, guys, because we're on about the last one. I just have to pick, I just have to check PayPal real quick, and then we'll close the show. Yeah, and I'm just opening. I just opened October bookings. So October bookings are open. ScottCruzPM.com. My one-on-one sessions are longer, more in depth, of course. And I'm talking to you. You get to communicate. And so book at ScottCruzPM.com. Live one-on-ones. Talk about health, mediumship, career, relationships, past life regressions, all that great stuff. Mediumship. Connecting with those who've crossed over. It's another one of my favorite sessions too. And also Intuition Builder. You want to tap into your own psychic abilities and just need another psychic mentor to help you be a psychic yourself. That's what I do too. And also creating as well, coupon codes for people who come back, for my clients who come back every week, every month. I give some breaks there if you want to work consistently. Finally, the booking system allowed me to create coupons. But okay. For Katie Wright, how do I interpret this? There's an ending to a relationship or ending a loss of somebody. I feel could be friendship. I just feel a loss of a relationship. I don't feel close to you enough to. It's not tell me exactly what type of relationship, but it's definitely a male energy as well, but also could be a female friend too. So maybe you'll be hit with a couple loss of relationships, but you have to understand these relationships were causing an imbalance. That's a two of pentacles. There's an imbalance there. The 10 of wands, or excuse me, the 5 of wands. That's very. It's a competitive nature. There might be relationships that are just crossing lines with you, and so one has to go or one is pushed out of your life, and so I don't want you to see it as a loss. Again, Tower card in reverse is like a restructuring of this. Understand it's the best for you to move on from these loss of relationships, the ending of this relationship, because it could be a friendship too, because I'm not getting it directly at just one, like it's a relationship or friendship. Maybe it's a couple, like maybe it's all the above in that sense. Maybe it's also coming to terms with father energy too in relation. So but set your boundaries, because that's where you're going to find your happiness, because I feel like happiness is you're going to find your foundation when it comes to relationships in that sense. And the ones that you've lost are kind of like, they're not here anymore, but they didn't provide much for me, right? So it's an emotional read. And of course, now on a one-on-one session, I'll say, well, give me the name. Let's read the person. And I'll read the person for you and all that stuff and all that great stuff. Of course, the card pulls are very general. That's the general read on this. So my advice on the general read for a general card pull, symbol card pull, is you should definitely be focusing on the relationships that really balance you, and let the ones that need to go, and heal from the ones that got gone too, even if there was an actual passing too. Allow yourself to release when it comes to relationships. Okay. All right, let me just check my PayPal, just make sure no one's there before I close. And we'll see here what's going on here. Bear with me a moment. Wrong account. Anyways. I have 2 PayPal accounts. Logged into the wrong one, and now it's it spins, so I apologize, guys. But I'll talk through while I'm doing this. But clearly, right now, like it's good to get general advice, but sometimes you need the specifics. That's why when I say with my sessions too, like I like to be a resource here for sessions, but for readings and stuff, for those who maybe are financially tight, to get maybe a little question in. But my one-on-ones, we go into depth, the details of the circumstances, the people, and the reasons. That's why it's 45 minutes. And so I want you to understand, you guys are getting kind of like a very vanilla version of my readings. And I can get more into predictive aspects and be more refined in that sense. So that's why I always say, understand you're getting general guidance here, but sometimes you need the depths of such, and understand there is a difference between a full session versus these little reads here. But let's give me my, I didn't change my overlay to live readings as I should have. See, I was behind on that. Anyways, my final thoughts. Right now, guys, you could feel strapped right now during this time, but it doesn't have to be. Understand every aspect in this duality of reality is a message. And if not every message is like, you're doing swell. Sometimes the message is, you're not doing so great. We need to reanalyze, regroup. Just see it as a motivation. See it as a realization period. So you don't drag yourself even further through the density and drag yourselves through the mud. Even though you're getting where you want to be, you're just slowing yourself down. And, just allow yourself to say, okay, this is what I'm faced with this time. Great. Let's what do I got to do? I'm open to this. Let's see what's going to happen here. Because And when I read and I do my collective readings on for signs for astrology, and I read my sign, I always kind of laugh. I'm like, this, I'm fucking going through that, because I never give a Aquarius read based on what I'm going through. I'm just cyclically reading the energy for Aquarius, and I'm just always laughing, like, yeah, it makes sense, and I've been very hard on myself too during this time, and beating myself up and feeling like, I deserve better, and a lot of us kind of feel this, that we do deserve better, not to be whiny about it, not to be entitled about it, but, those of us who give a lot and do a lot, perhaps we're not getting the same amount in return of what we're putting out there. And so we should be saying, I should be getting the same amount in return that I put out, if not more. And so that can continue that cycle. And so a lot of times we get in our own way with that. And I'll tell you, that being my lesson too right now, it's why even before I got sick, I'm like, I think I'm just going to do twice a week. And I realized, I don't have to be so extreme. Maybe just like do your live shows, and when you feel off, just take a day off or something like that. It doesn't have to be, so I was trying to find my balance during this, heavy, dense period, and hard on myself, because if I didn't have a good month, or I didn't do much this month, and, and I just had a lot of that stress, and I realized myself, that's my problem. And so instead of like feeling that energy and that emotion and just like reveling in it, I'm like, oh, that's what I have to fix. That's what this is showing me. Got it. Change my mindset. And I can tell you, when I make a realization or karmic shift, every day, the whole day, 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 2, 3, 3, 3, 4, 4, 4, 5, 5, 5, 6, 6, 6. I mean, it's all, the numbers go crazy. And I've just shifted my emotional perspective in the past 3 days. It's been every freaking hour on the hour, So you'll see those synchronicities when you're on the right track, and we just have to make an emotional perspective shift. You'll start seeing, that synchronicity like that. When I'm processing, I don't see it much. I'll see it maybe once or twice a day. If I'm processing something, or, in a state that I know I'm trying to get out of. But when you make the realization, you'll see in the synchronicities, the physical world may not change immediately, but those signs tell you, yep, keep that energy, you're balanced, you're in sync, good, keep doing it. So allow yourself to look beyond the physicality and say, what's spirit trying to tell me with this? And they're celebrating me right now. And I love it. I just said this right now, and I got to see the 3 of Cups there is all about celebration. So, so understand the trinity of self, the mind, body, spirit connection, right? Align that mind with the soul and vice versa, right? And so yeah, it's a wonderful time for us to kind of understand, what's happening. And so even the divisive nature that we were talking about with the political spectrum, I would say 2 years ago, 3, 4 years ago, I'd be so disappointed in people's posts. And although I'm still disappointed what people are posting, I'm like 90% proud of people for calling shit out now. I think people are really starting to get it. It's clicking in a lot of people. And now I'm starting to see people kind of mock the lies I've been talking about for decades. Now people are starting to call it out. I'm like, I'm proud of my human species. There's a lot of stupid people out there, don't get me wrong. There's still some people that are just wackadoo that thought that the rapture was actually coming on the 24th. They sold their belongings, and they're like on a group. And I mean, that's a level of detachment that needs some therapy on that level of detachment. I think that rapture's coming and that you're just chosen one. I think it's a escape method of thinking about your rapture. It's also a little arrogant. I'm the chosen one. So there's still a lot of work that needs to be done, but a lot of people are waking up. And so understand this is your time of realization, guys, to see through things, because I was saying this to Christopher yesterday. We're all evolving, right? So when we evolve, machinery is also evolving to where it can do what it can do now, but we are too. We can now see things. And some of us are now like being more connected to the extraterrestrial energy and interdimensional beings, and are feeling connected and getting communication from such. And they will be making contact. I've said between 2025 and 2030, they'll be making direct contact with us. So because we're expanding, it's been dense, but density also is a reflection of expansion too, guys. The harder it gets, the more we're actually expanding. And we've trekked through a lot. And so we should all be proud of ourselves of how we've been enduring this, and understand, like, yeah, look at all this shit we've been through, but like we're wiser now. We're kind of, we have some bumps and bruises. I posted a funny picture here, on showing my after eclipse season. I'm all burnt up, but I'm still kind of sitting there solid. And it's like, yeah, you might get some bruises and scratches. But it's like, I'm good. I get it. I'm objective and unaffected is my quote. So, embrace that. You know, when you look at a bumper sticker and say, you know, love yourself, ask yourself, yeah, I heard it before, but do I really know what that means? Always want to ask yourself, do you really know what it means? Till you can really say, yeah, I love myself, versus like, yeah, I love myself. Sure, I'm cool. You know, ask yourself, do you really know what it means? And I think this is the time of that introspection, and it's going to benefit every single one of us. So yes. All right, guys. Well, it's been a wonderful Thursday night. If you didn't get a chance, Christopher and I had a random chat session yesterday on LOL, which is always our best episodes. You know, I like to not have a script or guide. I just kind of wing it. But he's likes to have the same script that we go through things, and I just don't like that. And so we didn't really do that last night. And so he's like, "Oh, it's one of our best shows." I'm like, "Because we were not so scripted. We didn't go through an outline. You know, we just let it flow. That's part of our process." So check that out if you missed it out too. And guys, like, share, subscribe, comment, all that stuff. I'm realizing I really need to start asking you guys to help me build my channel. I've been asked because I've been so anti-social media, just here because I want to express my work and have a resource for my clients. But I have to put the emphasis and say, guys, share, subscribe, like, engage with the channel, help the channel grow. You guys are the ones that build channels. You're the ones who build and create consistency in the things that you want to hear and see. So, help support this channel as well and spread the word too, and bring people in and share videos and engage with it, because we people I hate the word influence. I hate that word, but I'm a psychic medium mentor. I'm a professional. I do my work, but we're not anything without you guys. We can't do what we do without you. We can't have a platform without you guys. We can't continue doing what you guys want us to do without you, right? So understand the important dynamic you are on the other side, and so be supportive and be loving, and share your feedback if you want to share your feedback. But I don't tolerate hate, as I said last time. Hate and criticizing people on looks, as I see a couple people do, not tolerated. We don't have time for that. But so help this channel, like, subscribe, whatever the line is. Please help me do that, and I appreciate every single one of you guys. We'll be here next week, and I think next week will be October 1st, if I'm not mistaken. My Thursday is always on. There's always an important day on Thursday, for some reason. So actually, it'll be the 2nd. So I don't know if maybe it's too close to do October. Maybe I'll do October read, and kind of look there. Maybe I'll do that for next week, and maybe I'll do a topic in between, and we'll keep it simple, do more readings in that sense. So, all right, guys, I appreciate every single one of you guys. You're all the gods and goddesses of your own myth. What do you want to create? What's love? I'm trying to think what I should close with. I already did. You saw the commercial. I said book a session so many times. What do I have here? I'm trying to see what I can close you out with here. What can I close you out with here? Oh, let me do this. Let me find a video here for a minute, because I made a video. I don't know if y'all seen it. It's a stupid little video that I posted. And let me put that on now. If I can find it, I have to browse through. I need to start setting up my shiznets here. Here it is. I got it. We'll just put it right there. Nope. No. Okay, sorry. Didn't do that again. Let's do this here. Full screen. Meditation is a wonderful process to gain insight, clarity, and realizations into the self, as well as those in the world around you. It's where I find most of my creative ideas. I was in meditation the other day, and a wonderful, greatest realization that day, that I still had a chocolate bar left in the fridge. The power of meditation.